We all remember how the summer of 2010 changed the NBA forever. Back then, LeBron James was coming off a second-round loss at the hands of the Boston Celtics, and after realizing he would not be able to win a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers at the moment, he decided to take his talents to South Beach to form a super team that would go on to win 2 titles in 4 years. 6 years later, Kevin Durant was coming off an amazing season with the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he led his team to a 3-1 series lead in the conference finals against the mighty Golden State Warriors. But after the Thunder failed to win the series, Durant decided to leave in free agency to join the Warriors and went on to win 2 titles in 3 years. Now, following an embarrassing loss in the second round against the Miami Heat in a season where they expected to at least reach the NBA Finals, the Milwaukee Bucks and almost all basketball fans are wondering whether Giannis Antetokounmpo will be the next superstar to leave the team that drafted him to pursue a championship elsewhere. Welcome to Courtside. Today, we'll take a look at how the future of Giannis and the Bucks is looking right now. The Bucks were expected to be playing at this stage in the playoffs. After all, they had a solid and versatile roster that had the best record in the league for the second straight year, a 2-time Coach of the Year winner in Mike Budenholzer, and most importantly, they had their best player shattering history books throughout the regular season. Giannis dominated the league before the start of the bubble games, and Milwaukee looked almost unbeatable when the Greek Freak was at his best, which was reflected in the number of awards Antetokounmpo collected when everything was said and done. Giannis had a player efficiency rating of 31.87, breaking an all-time record previously held by Wilt Chamberlain, while also becoming the 3rd player in NBA history to receive both the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year award during the same season. He was also named the All-NBA and All-Defense first teams, and for the better part of the year, there was talk about his team possibly reaching the 70-win mark. But as soon as the seeding game started, something seemed to be off with the Bucks. They didn't look like the team they were a few months ago, and this showed in their 3-5 record. Then, the alarms were raised after they lost their playoff opener against the Magic and allowed them to remain close for the majority of the game. But when it was looking like they might have regained their confidence as a team on their way to the second round, the Miami Heat quickly demonstrated that was not the case. And the Heat deserve credit for the impeccable job they did against Giannis and the Bucks, as well as for the incredible playoff run they've been enjoying. But the fact that Milwaukee was eliminated without at least giving them a good fight can only be described as a collapse. As soon as the final buzzer sounded, there were hundreds of memes circulating on the internet, and it's safe to say that almost every fan base outside of Miami and part of Los Angeles has been busy wondering what could their team give up in exchange for the 2-time MVP. But despite the many rumors, theories, hypothetical trade scenarios involving him, and the fact that he could still change his mind in a few months, Giannis hasn't given any indication that he would rather take his talents anywhere else than to keep playing in Milwaukee. As a matter of fact, he's repeated that he's not going to ask to be traded, and even went as far as to say that he could see himself playing in Milwaukee for the next 15 years, as long as they're fighting to get a championship. This should make both fans and Bucks front office feel relieved about the chance of potentially losing their best players this offseason. Retired players like Charles Barkley might also feel proud of Giannis whenever the star says something like this, but leaving Antetokounmpo's loyalty to the team and desire to win on his own terms aside, should he consider eventually leaving the team? Barkley rightfully pointed out that the Greek Freak is younger than both Michael Jordan and LeBron James were when they won their first NBA championships, and that the media is forcing a narrative that tries to make it seem like this was a championship or bust team, when the reality is that Giannis is still growing as a player. And to make a deeper analysis, let's take a look at LeBron's and Durant's situations in 2010 and 2016, respectively, which are the most similar cases to Giannis's in recent years. By 2010, James had also won 2 MVP trophies and was on his way to becoming the face of the league, a title that was being held by Kobe Bryant at the time. He also finished as the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in 2009. He managed to guide the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals in 2007, which was just his 4th season in the league. And though his team was swept by a much more talented and experienced Spurs team, things were looking good for the future of Cleveland. However, that would be the furthest LeBron and the Cavaliers would go during their first stint together. Following a disappointing 2008 season, the King led his team to a league-best record in back-to-back seasons. However, much like the Bucks, the Cavs were eliminated in the conference finals by the Orlando Magic in 2009, and then in the second round by the Boston Celtics in 2010. Without a clear path to contention or a roster that was capable of defeating the Big Three of Boston, and also amid reported disagreements with the team ownership, LeBron decided to leave his hometown team when he became a free agent and announced he was signing with the Miami Heat to join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Durant's situation with the Thunder was similar to that of LeBron's, with the difference that his supporting cast was noticeably better. KD had helped the young Thunder reach the finals in 2012 where, curiously, they would be defeated by James's Heat. However, while people were at the moment talking about a future dynasty for the young team, that would be the closest they would get to the championship trophy. Though Durant managed to win the MVP award in 2014, Injuries limited the Thunder from 2013 to 2015, with arguably the single exception coming from the 2014 Western Conference Finals when they lost to the San Antonio Spurs. But after finally having both KD and Russell Westbrook healthy for a full season, the Thunder were looking to reclaim their place as contenders and return to the West's finals by defeating the Spurs in 2016. Looking as good as they ever had been, OKC took a 3-1 series lead against the Warriors before collapsing and losing in 7 games. After their season ended, Durant decided to join Golden State and went on to win 2 titles. Despite both situations having their clear differences, they also have one major similarity, which is that the 2 superstars left their respective teams after feeling that they had reached a point where the teams wouldn't be able to contend for a championship regardless of how good they played during the season. But can we say that Giannis is already in the same situation that LeBron and Durant found themselves in? KD spent his first 9 seasons with the team that drafted him, the most among the 3 stars. However, that could have been because he had a superstar sidekick in Russell Westbrook, something James never had, and that is still debated in the case of Giannis with Chris Middleton. For his part, LeBron spent only 7 years with the Cavs, but during his time there, the better teammate he ever had was probably Mo Williams, as the team's management proved to be unable to surround him with the required talent to help him take the Cavs deep into the playoffs. Antetokounmpo just finished his 7th season, and his contract would finish in the following year if he doesn't sign an extension with the Bucks first. His timeline is the same as that of the 2 older stars, but there's a clear difference when it comes to the Bucks and the Cavs and Thunder. While the Cavs failed to pair LeBron with another star and the Thunder couldn't replace James Harden's production after trading him away, the Bucks have continuously been making moves year after year to make their team better, perhaps with the experience of the other 2 teams serving as a lesson for them. Milwaukee had an easier time at first as they were developing a young core around Giannis that at the time included Jabari Parker and Malcolm Brogdon. But as it became evident that they needed to add more talent around their star, they brought players like Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, Wesley Matthews, Kyle Korver, and George Hill, while also signing coach Mike Budenholzer in 2018. These moves immediately helped take the team to the top of the East and helped turn Giannis into an MVP. And while some of them might now be looked at with certain questions, it can't be said that they were bad moves at the time. The players they brought helped raise the expectations that were placed over the team at the time. Now, with the other goals in mind, it might be necessary for them to keep looking for ways in which they can improve their roster. So it can't be said that Milwaukee hasn't shown its commitment to Antetokounmpo and to winning. Just a few days ago, it was reported that they held a meeting with him to talk about possible moves to make the team better and the possibility of going over the luxury cap if needed. There have also been many rumors indicating that the team is interested in star point guard Chris Paul. However, too early to either confirm or deny that one. But while the offseason arrives and rumors continue going around, there's one thing that we can conclude. Giannis doesn't need to leave the Bucks to contend for a championship, at least not at the moment. They're probably only a closer away from becoming true contenders. And while they look for a player that could fill that role, the reigning MVP should feel comfortable enough to put his faith in the team for a few more years. Overall, and though it might be difficult to believe, we think that Charles Barkley was right in pointing out that it's still too early for Giannis and the Bucks to be thinking about championship or bust seasons. Both the player and the team are still growing and discovering things about their own identities and what makes them unique. They still have at least one more year to test their true potential. And if things go in the right direction, it shouldn't be long before they reach the finals. But if they don't, there'll be some interesting conversations when the 2021 free agency arrives. But now, what moves do you think the Bucks should be looking at to convince Giannis to stay after 2021? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel for more NBA content. We are Courtside.